My name is Jill Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center and your host of the NMC Healthbeat show, dedicated to discussing important healthcare topics of interest to our community. Today, I'm talking with NMC pharmacist John Chesarek about a new service at NMC. It's a drug take-back kiosk we've installed. So welcome, John, and thanks
Thank you,
for
Jill.
joining
Thanks for having
us.
me here today.
Yeah, this is an exciting topic, actually, and so I'm sure the community is going to be really interested to hear more about this.
I know that we've gotten several calls from the community over the years about this type of service, so be glad to talk about it today.
Yeah, super. So first and foremost, you're not new to NMC, so tell us a little bit about you and what you've been doing at the hospital and how long.
I've been at the hospital initially 1988. I came to St. Albans and started at the hospital in this very building, the old hospital. Did some work.
Yeah.
Of course, we're up at the newly remodeled and improved Northwestern Medical Center. So I've been here since '88, working as a pharmacist, staff pharmacist. I became manager, did that for a few years, and now I'm back into a staff role, helping as I can.
Wonderful. Well, you've been a wonderful asset to the hospital, John. So thank you for all you've done for NMC and our patients, this community. So you've been very dedicated.
Thank you.
In your service. And you've seen a lot of change.
A lot of change, yes.
And now we're here. I mean, the number one community health need is mental health and addiction. And so today we're talking about, a kiosk. How do we, limit, medications, out on the street and in people's homes. And so talk a little bit about what is this kiosk and what does it look like? What is it intended to do?
Okay. The kiosk is designed to provide the community members a safe place to eliminate their waste medications. Mm-hmm. Okay. A lot of folks, they take their medications for a while. The doctor tells them to stop taking them, or they don't need them anymore. They've got some pain medications. Mm-hmm. The pain's gone, so they don't need them. They leave them in their medicine cabinet. That's not what we want to have happen. Because it's in the medicine cabinet at home that young people, relatives, whoever, people who are there to, redo your toilet, the plumber can see that those medications are there and maybe divert them illegally, okay, and then abuse them. So what's been going on is folks throw them in the trash, and then you read in the paper about someone who has got it in the trash and got their medications that way. So what the kiosk is, it's a safe place that people can bring the medications and put them for disposal. Okay, it looks similar to a large mailbox that you might see out on the street. Strong, sturdy metal container with just a small opening that people then can put their medications in. The medications are disposed of properly. They'll be incinerated by a authorized narcotic, if you will, incinerating company. So we will once a month, once every 2 months, depending on how frequently it fills up, we will send those off to the incinerator company to be disposed of properly. The meds will not end up in the landfill as they are currently, where they are currently going now when people dispose of them at home.
Okay, all right. So this is going to be at the hospital.
Correct.
So where will we find this?
Okay. As I understand it, as you come in the front doors of the hospital, you'll see the main lobby. You'll see that nice warm fireplace we have. You'll need to go a little bit beyond that, turn to the left. It's closer to the elevators that go up to the second floor. Okay. We need it farther inside. We can't have it just out by the front doors where perhaps as a Hollywood movie, someone comes in, rips it out, and drives away with the whole box. So it has to be under observation by federal regulation, by staff, regulatory staff, and then we'll have, of course, security cameras monitoring it as well to make sure that it's secure.
Okay, great. Excellent. So when you mentioned, you can put the medication in, but if I can put it in, why can't I get it out?
Okay, just like a mailbox, you put your letter in, you try to put your hand in to grab other people's letters, there's a baffle in there that pops up when you try to go in. It's also lockable so that if for some reason we can't be monitoring it, we can lock it and then it can't be opened, say for example at nighttime if someone happens to be wandering by and wants to try and divert. So it'll be lockable in that fashion as well.
And it's attached, so like you mentioned the drive-by here, so people going by, they can't pull it off the wall?
It's securely screwed into the floor, if you will.
Okay, oh, it's into the floor,
right.
Okay.
And then there'll be a lock on the backside that we will have the key to open so that we can take out the drugs.
Okay.
So there's a small entry port for people to deposit their meds. So don't plan on coming up to the hospital with, you know, large cardboard boxes full of medications. Also, I might recommend that if you have numerous bottles of medications, put them all into one, so that there's not a lot of airspace being taken up just by empty plastic bottles in the container. And it's not intended for you to get rid of your prescription bottles in. It's the drugs themselves. So.
Okay, so you're not putting the bottles in, you're just dumping the medications in and throwing the bottles away is what you'd like to see happen?
That's what we'd like to see happen.
Okay.
Put all of your meds in a plastic bag and bring them up, put them in that way.
Okay.
Or if you have 10 bottles and one of them's bigger than the rest, and you can put them all in that one bottle, do that.
Okay. That
would be better than individual bottles with 1 or 2 tablets apiece, taking up all that extra space.
Now, do the pharmacists take the medications out when it's full, or how do you dispose of? How does this actually work? They've gone in. Now, what do we do?
Okay. As I said, about once a month or every 2 months, depending on how often it fills up, there will be two employees from the hospital to make sure there's not a diversion process where the one employee goes and takes the things that they want and then the other one.
Right.
So it's in a large cardboard box that has a certain packing method involved with it. It's taped and then it's delivered to the incinerator area.
Okay.
Whatever company we use for that.
Okay. Now, is this the only place around that is doing this, or so that everybody's going to come to MMC, or are there other places around? Okay,
what we currently have in place is a system where they'll have the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, has a drug take-back day.
Okay.
Usually it's in October and April, and they will advertise it in advance, and it's been at a variety of places. The Sheriff's Department here in town, I believe Swanton Rexall had it there once, the Alberg Fire Department, Kinney Drugs. So that's what people have had an opportunity for in the past. This will be the first one that's permanent at the hospital. The local police department has also served as a place to receive medications as well. This particular type of drop box is currently in place in Brattleboro, I believe. I don't know how it's been working down there, but it's a system that's beginning to spread. All right, a lot of more businesses are willing to spend the money. It's not a totally free thing for us, the hospital, to do this. We have to have a separate license from the Drug Enforcement Administration in order to take controlled substances back. And then we have to pay for the disposal. We have to pay for the box up front and then the disposal on a regular basis throughout the year. So it isn't free, so not all businesses are clamoring to get on this. Certainly only drugstores could get on it if they wanted, but then they'd have to apply for the special pay for the special license in order to receive narcotics back.
Right. Have we been partnering with other organizations in order to kind of put this program together? Or?
I believe the state health department has been kind of encouraging us, and the local police department certainly is excited now that we'll have a spot as well as I don't know that the police department will continue now that we have this.
Sure. So it's good that we're working together as a community to kind of wrap around this issue. So, as a pharmacist, and with the changing laws about how many medications or pain medications you can give out, to the prescribing rules, are you seeing prescribing different over? You've been a pharmacist for many years. I mean, there was a time when you give out 30 or whatever, 60 or whatever. Are you seeing those things change? Are we really getting a tighter control on narcotics?
That's kind of hard for me to answer because I've been a pharmacist at the hospital.
Yeah,
and
true.
we don't fill prescriptions for the general public. We are able to fill them by law for our employees, so I have a small subset to look at, and indeed, I am seeing smaller quantities ordered by the physicians for that group. But as far as the general public, I don't really have that perspective.
There's definitely a heightened awareness that
certainly
that as prescribers, we don't want to be part of the problem. We don't want to be fueling the problem.
And in the past, I did notice from our employees that frequently folks would say, well, do I really need that many? Can I just have half of them? And of course, the law would allow us to give them half, but then we couldn't fill the rest of the prescription if they wanted it later because of the regulations on the controlled substances.
Sure. So, there was a notion that you could actually flush medications. Mm-hmm. Are people still flushing, or what's the
My assumption is
what's the deal on flushing the medications down the toilet?
My assumption is that people are still flushing. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay. For a long time, the Drug Enforcement Administration said flushing was fine. The EPA, on the other hand, said flushing was not fine. Okay, so there was this conflict between the two federal organizations, and about 2 years ago in October, the DEA came out and said, okay, flushing's not fine. Okay, so now even at the hospital, we don't flush anymore. We used to flush controlled substances because that was the only way to make them, as the DEA referred to it, irretrievable.
Yes.
Nobody could go down the sewer pipes and find this tablet and take it. So then the DEA said, no, there has to be another way, and they've offered to hospitals, and as I understand it, it's commercially available at retail stores as well, a container that has a liquid in it that will decompose the narcotic and make it safe to be thrown into the regular trash.
Oh.
So, trade name RX Destroyer.
Ooh.
Okay. So our nurses now are putting their waste narcotics, if they only need to give half a dose of, say, morphine, for example, they put the waste into the RX Destroyer jug.
Oh, wow.
It's rendered irretrievable and can be thrown in the regular trash when the jug is full. And as I understand it, this type of system is available at the retail level in a smaller volume, okay, because most folks don't have a lot of narcotic waste that they need to do.
Sure.
So that's what's available. Also, we get a lot of calls from folks asking if they can just bring up their regular medications, not narcotics or controlled substances. And the recommendation, if you go to VEA.gov, or FDA.gov,
okay,
their recommendation is to put it in a tightly sealed plastic container that has some unpalatable substance with it. And frequently that's suggested as kitty litter. Used kitty litter. Okay.
That should do it.
All right, so anything that, if you put all your tablets and capsules together, add some kind of ugly liquid, coffee, Coke, all of it becomes a thick, solid, gooey mash. Yes, someone could find that, but what are they going to take? This thick, solid, gooey mash. If it's in a plastic sealed container, it's not going to leak out, supposedly, in the landfill, so that's the safe method for folks who don't have a box like we have available. Okay. And that's what we've been recommending to folks for many years.
Okay. All right, so as our time comes to a close, so the hospital has this safe box that's located next to the elevators as you come into the lobby, take a left. And what can folks put in that box? There are some things that you can't put in that box, so let's kind of wrap up our show. What can you put in the box?
It's designed for medications that are controlled substances and non-controlled substances. It's not designed for insulin needles. Okay, that's
no
another
needles.
big waste area that people ask about. It's not designed or allowed for controlled substances that are considered Schedule 1. So heroin, LSD, marijuana, we wouldn't expect people to put those drug wastes in this box.
Okay.
And there will be a big sign on the front of the box telling people what not to put in and what's available. Primarily, you go to the doctor, you get medications, tablets, capsules. They've expired, you don't need them anymore. That's what we want you to bring.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Anything else we should know?
Hospital's a great place that has this as offering to the community, and I think people are going to take advantage of it.
That's great. Excellent. Thank you. Well, thanks so much for being part of this show. I think this is such an important project for the hospital to take on. We're grateful for our partnership, like with the Department of Health, to kind of move us in this direction. And I think this community is ready for something like this. The awareness has been heightened, and I think we want a safer, healthier community, and this is part of it. So thank you for your role in making this happen, because I'm sure it doesn't just happen overnight.
You're welcome.
So I'm Jill Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center, your host of Healthbeat today. And for those of you who want to dispose your medications, or most of them, not your needles, you can come to the hospital. We have a very safe, monitored place for you to drop your medications. So thank you for joining us today.